In this episode, Meyer-Shank Racing gets a hefty penalty. NASCAR was at Phoenix, and we chat about the Sebring Prologue. Welcome to episode 189 of the We Are Auto Show. What's up, Derek?
Mr. Michael Rao, it is the week, and I believe you'll be listening to this on Friday, or to release on Friday, which is the day of the WEC race at Sebring, and the next day is the IMSA race at Sebring. So it's Super Sebring weekend.
It is, and I'm so bummed that I will not be there, but you will.
I will.
Enjoy it. But before we get into some Sebring Prologue stuff, let's talk about some issues that happened post-Rolex.
Hot drama alert.
Oh, boy.
Let's do this. So, the winning car of the Rolex 24, Meyer-Shank Racing Acura. Meyer-Shank, good catch, has been penalized, and they got quite heavily penalized, for manipulating tire pressures data at the Rolex 24.
Man.
To my understanding, here's how it worked. Your sensor on the car reads the tire pressure. I think it's actually embedded in the rim. So the Michelin team embeds a tire pressure sensor in the rim. That then reads data back to the car. Then that gets put on a little chip. And with that tire pressure data, it's either streamed off the car to the IMSA teams, or it's put on a little chip. And then afterward, the IMSA team comes and takes that chip and they read all the data on the car and they make sure that everything's good. The tire pressure was read correctly. By the time it made it to the chip, it had run through some software. That software manipulated the tire pressure before it got read onto the chip. So, the software was maliciously put in place by someone at the Meyer-Shank Racing team. And I don't know the exact numbers. They didn't release that. They just said it was manipulated. I imagine it was probably like 2 to 3 PSI or something similar to that. So if the tire pressure was reading 20 PSI on the chip, you would have seen 22 PSI.
Or would you have seen 20 or 18?
No, the other way around. You want lower on the car, and you want higher on the chip. That's usually what happens. They usually run these cars at minimum tire pressures most of the time.
Yeah, hot air expanses.
Yeah. Right. So this is a big red flag. I believe that the HPD, the Honda Performance Development guys, were the ones that figured this out and reported it to IMSA. And terrible look. Absolutely terrible look.
You can't do that.
No, that is the definition of cheating.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. So the team was, they did not get their race win revoked. But
Should they have?
did, we'll come back to that. They did get their points revoked from the championship. They got the normal IMSA points revoked. They got the endurance, whatever that championship is called, points revoked.
They're saying that they lost 200 of their 350 points.
Okay.
So they didn't lose all of them.
Okay. A good percentage.
They lost a big chunk.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Meyer-Shank, I believe, was put on suspension until like June or July or something like that.
Through June 30th.
Okay. There was $50,000 fine, and believe all their race winnings were also removed.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty darn hefty fine. Now, let's come back to the other question that you just posed. Should the race win have been removed? What do you think?
I just don't like this whole situation at all. No, I don't think they should have it removed. But they should get what they're getting.
Let me pose you this question. I believe it was last year. Denny Hamlin's team in NASCAR was found adding tape to a certain section of the car where you could not add tape. They yoinked that race win away from him. This is manipulating tire pressure maliciously in software. Someone wrote the code to do this on purpose.
Did you do it?
No. I wish. That'd be awesome. No, but I know that the team member that did this was let go from the organization. This is more than just putting tape on a certain spot of the car, in my opinion.
Do you think it should have been revoked?
I think this one should have been, yes. I think that because it was so intentional and because someone on the team did this so intentionally, yes. I'm kind of shocked that NASCAR took tape on a certain part of the grill and took away a race win. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, this one's pretty bad.
I guess it just goes to show the leniency of the sanctioning bodies there.
It is rare to take away a win. That is kind of the nuclear bomb option. Because generally in racing, sure, you won, you cheated, but Super Sebrings this weekend, like, they're not going to be cheating on the tire pressures now, so we'll see how fast their pace actually is.
Yeah.
They looked like the dominant team. How much 2 or 3 PSI really made a difference? Hard to say. They ran a good race. I don't know if 2 or 3 PSI was going to get them a win.
And that's where my brain goes.
I don't know.
Would 2 or 3 PSI actually win you the race?
I would say no. It was a very competitive field, and I was surprised to see that there was 5 GTPs on the lead lap at the end of that race or something. 4 or 5, I think. So a couple PSI does make a difference, sure, in grip, in those kind of conditions. It was like 70-ish Fahrenheit near the end. I don't think it gives you the win, though. I still think you have to run a very clean, consistent, good, hard race. It's a 24-hour race. Yeah. 2 PSI doesn't just win you a 24-hour race. But it will get you a couple tenths here and there, which adds up over 24.
Yeah, I'm with you. I will say Meyer Shank Racing did give a statement. Their statement was, I'm going to give some quotes here. We accept the series decision and have taken responsibility. We want to apologize to everyone in Acura, HPD, Honda Performance Development, and all of our partners. We have dealt with this issue internally, and the team member that was responsible is no longer with the organization. We do not want this error to overshadow the tremendous effort that our team, drivers, and all of our partners have put forth to develop this new LMDH car. That's Le Mans Daytona Hybrid. We consider this matter closed and are fully focused on resetting and coming back for the 12 hours of Sebring. So it sounds like they've gone, yep, we screwed up. Sorry, won't happen again.
They owned it, which is the correct way to go about doing that.
Yeah, if they would have went, I don't know. What do you mean? No, this never would have happened. No.
They could have tried to fight the series, but they owned it. They said, our bad. We'll move on. But
it's the right thing to do.
Yep. Should the win have gone? Don't know.
We'll see.
Yep. We'll also see what their pace is about to be like this upcoming weekend, because they will be running at Sebring.
Yes, they will. They'll be running one of the 2 series, but we'll get into that later. Let's move on to some NASCAR talk.
Oh, let's do it.
So I did not get to watch the race at Phoenix this past week. Did get to see some highlights, but NASCAR was at Phoenix.
Yes, they were.
And I am very confused about the track at Phoenix.
All right.
So in most racing, the line that many of them take would be called cutting the corner.
Oh, yes.
That's not, there is just, there's no such thing at this track.
Phoenix has the yellow line on the bottom, but nobody actually plays by the rules at Phoenix.
Look at the tire marks.
Yeah.
Tire marks all go to the inside of the yellow.
Yeah. I don't. It's called the apron, or that line is usually dictates where the apron starts. And usually you cannot pass down there, but specifically at Phoenix, in certain parts of the track, you can pass down there.
And they're passing they're next to the wall in the grass.
Yeah, they're also very close to pit entry and exit, which is kind of odd as well.
It just, I every time they'd have a restart, I'd watch them all just dive in as deep to the apron as they could, and I'm thinking, well, that's a little odd. I'm pretty sure BMW esports driver, or whoever it was, a Williams esports driver, got busted for that for the iRacing Rolex.
Yeah. Yes, they did. I don't know. I didn't see a ton of this race. I know from what I could tell from the highlights, it was actually green most of the race, which was good to see.
That's surprising.
And it does look like you can have some good racing here. It looks like you can run a high line and a low line, which is pretty neat to see as well. And yeah, the way that Phoenix is configured, it's kind of odd that you can kind of cut the apron.
Yeah, just totally cut. Not like kind of, but just blatantly just right on through.
Way under the apron. Kind of weird.
Yeah, so real quick, I'll give you your top 3 here. Third place was Tyler Reddick in a Toyota. Second place was Ryan Blaney in a Ford. First place was William Byron in a Chevy. That's your top 3 at the Phoenix race this past weekend.
Neat. Neat. I will say, we heard the numbers from the TV ratings for NASCAR, for IndyCar, and for F1. And IndyCar by far had the lowest ratings, which was kind of unfortunate considering they had a really, really spicy race at the St. Pete Grand Prix.
Yeah,
but
St.
for some
Pete
reason,
Crash Test Derby.
Their ratings were the lowest. And from what I heard,
it's because their cars are so damn ugly.
I don't know about that. I think it's the demographics. There's more to it than that. Just marketing, demographics, yada yada. You don't want to hear me blabber about that. I'll talk about that for hours. But what I was trying to get at is that the TV broadcasters themselves, if you remember when we were talking about those races happening that weekend, they were lined up perfectly. They were back to back to back. Yeah. Right? You could have watched F1 in the morning, Indy in the afternoon, and then NASCAR kind of in the evening.
Yeah.
They collaborated on that. The TV broadcasters did collaborate on that, and they made it so that those schedules would line up perfectly.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, that's cool. That's super cool.
That's awesome. Now, I wonder, it's just crazy, like, how they get about doing that. Because I know you had mentioned that some broadcaster had let it slip, like, how much they pay per...
Yeah, I think that there were some NASCAR broadcasters talking on Twitter recently, saying that each of the broadcasts on Fox... were around $50 million each that they're paying to NASCAR. Now, if you recall, when the Daytona 500 happened, a lot of people put up a stink about having too many commercials because it was a $50 million broadcast. That's how much they bought the rights to broadcast the race from NASCAR for. That's kind of a lot. That's a whole lot of money to broadcast the NASCAR race.
That's crazy.
And I don't think that a race like Phoenix is going to have the same type of draw that a race like Daytona would. So they're really trying to cash out on Daytona, where you got a much bigger audience watching.
I think they have to, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
That's just the business of motorsports right now.
Motorsports is expensive.
Very. Yes. So, was there any racing that happened at Sebring this past weekend?
So there was. So if you recall back from the Rolex, when the Roar happened, which is kind of the warm-up, the testing and all that for the Rolex, there was the new series that did get a chance to race, the VP Sports Car Challenge, VP Racing Sports Car Challenge.
Right.
Which is that weird sprint challenge with LMP3, which is Le Mans Prototype 3 cars, and GT4 cars, which are like street cars. But the GT4 cars are called GSX, not GT4.
Okay. I'm kind
because
of tracking.
That makes sense. But yes, at the Prologue, the Sebring Prologue, there was the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge races. Race 1 and 2 happened. I'll give you the winner of the class of each race, and then we'll move on because didn't get to watch much of it. In race 1, the grand winner went to Bjoy Garg in an LMP3, and GSX was taken by Luca Mars in the Core Motorsports Mustang GT4, which is kind of cool to see.
Okay.
Race 2 went to Bjoy Garg again in the P3, and it went to Gregory, and I'm going to butcher your last name, Leifug in a BMW M4 GT4.
Okay.
And that
I
was
believe these are sprint races as well, so I think they're
45 minutes.
45 minutes? Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, this one, 46 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's a 45-minute race.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that's what happened there.
Okay. Neat. Now, there was some other stuff that went on at Sebring this past weekend. The WEC has been there and is still there, and they are doing the WEC Prologue, which is the equivalent to the Roar Before the 24 for the WEC. It's a test session that happens the weekend prior to the race.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that we've got to see all the what they call hypercars on the racetrack at the same time.
Yes, so the hypercar would be what we know as LMH Le Mans Hypercar / LMDH Le Mans Daytona Hybrid.
Naming conventions are rough right now.
They are not
We'll just
good.
put it that way. Anyway, first time we've got to see the new cars. We've got to see photos here of the Ferrari, and in this series, the WEC, the World Endurance Championship, which is the series that runs the Le Mans 24. That's what they're very famous for. We have in the top class Ferrari, Porsche, Toyota, Peugeot, Glickenhaus, Cadillac, and Van Wall, which runs up by
Collis,
Collis. Yeah. I believe that means how many manufacturers? Is that 8 or 9?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7 total manufacturers. Now, a couple of notes here. We're missing BMW, which runs in IMSA. We're missing Acura, which runs in IMSA. We have Cadillac. That's what I was about to say.
Yep.
And also Lamborghini is missing from both. I don't know if they will be running both next year. They will at least be running in IMSA next year. Mm-hmm. But it is good to see new manufacturers. At the Rolex 24, we got to see Porsche, Cadillac, Acura, and BMW run. So this is the first time that we'll get to see Ferrari, Toyota, Peugeot, Glickenhaus, and Van Wall by Collis. 5 total new teams I think we'll get to see.
Lots. I'm excited to see the Ferraris.
Yes.
I'm very excited to see how the Ferraris do. I'm very excited to see if the Ferrari Formula One woes plague their hypercar team as well.
Will the Tifosi, the Ferrari fans, be out in force, do you think, at Sebring?
I think they will.
I hope to see.
Because it's the first race that the new Ferrari hypercar is racing in the world. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be Ferrari fans worldwide coming to 1,000 Miles of Sebring.
I have heard that there is like a 3-hour-long RV line already at the track.
Holy.
And it was there Monday.
Holy.
So, I know it is going to be an absolutely packed race. This might be the last time for a long time that you will be able to see both IMSA and the WEC at the same track on the same weekend.
I know, it's tearing my heart to pieces.
Yep. It is likely the last time.
Tearing my heart to pieces. Yes, because the WEC has so wonderfully decided that their opening race is going to be in the Middle East.
Because oil money.
March or February. And logistically, you can't really take a whole circus of all of these different hypercars and GT cars and ship them from the Middle East to Sebring, Podunk, Florida.
Nope.
In a week.
Nope, that's way too long. It takes too long to do that. So it will be neat to see these two run back to back. I think that I'm looking forward to the WEC race a lot more than the 12 hours, to be honest.
Yeah.
Another funny note, this is the WEC race, is the 1,000 miles, or is it kilometers or miles?
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles of Sebring. They've run this race twice. They've never gotten to 1,000 miles. They've gotten rained out every time. Every time.
I remember last year, you and I were there, and you just went to Thunderstorm with an hour or two left or something like that.
Mm-hmm. They've never made it to 1,000 miles. I suspect this year they might, because the Friday has good weather, Saturday doesn't have good weather.
So good luck if you're there on Saturday.
Yeah, the IMSA race might get some rain, which I really like seeing these cars in rain. It's awesome to see these cars in rain. It's amazing.
It is on TV from the comfort of your home. I don't like being wet at a racetrack.
No, but
I would rather be hot than wet.
Find a canopy. You can find a canopy.
Yes, but I would rather be hot than wet.
You just wait till you see some of the photos I take. It's going to be neat.
They're going to be sweet, I'm sure.
If it rains, it'll be cool.
Quick side note, there is supposed to be 14 GT cars in the WEC race, in the WEC, the World Endurance Championship.
All right. How many hypercars in total? 11
hypercars, 14 GT cars. So that's almost the same amount of GT cars as hypercars.
Wow, you're right.
That's
crazy.
That's a lot. We haven't seen that in a long time.
No, not even close. The WEC has struggled to get top-class cars until this year.
Yes, because it's been, would you like a Toyota or would you like a Toyota? Which Toyota would you like, the Toyota or the Toyota?
That was it. Yep. It used to be the Audi Peugeot, then it was Audi Toyota, then it was just Toyota. So now we're finally to a point where we have different manufacturers, which is really cool. Really cool. Okay, let me ask you this question going in. What manufacturer takes it down in the WEC?
Toyota.
Really?
Toyota wins.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they don't want to kickflip a Toyota this year.
They did do that last year.
Yes, they did. Okay, so I'm being facetious. Realistically, I think Toyota has a chance I think Cadillac has a chance. And surprisingly, I think Porsche has a chance as well.
Okay.
I wish I could say Glickenhaus has a chance, but Glickenhaus is never really quick enough.
I think that they were leading for a while last year, but they don't. They tend to struggle to finish. The consistency is rough for them.
Yes, correct. Peugeot is still so revolutionary that I don't think they're going to do well.
They're my dark horse. If someone is going to take it, and I'm going to be like, how did that happen? It's Peugeot.
Yeah. What about Vanwall?
No way. There's no way. They don't have a chance.
You don't think the lone Vanwall has a chance?
It's a new team.
I don't either. I think they're just so dead in the water.
From what I've heard, they actually have good pace, which is cool. But putting good pace together for a 1,000-mile win is a different story.
Yes.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Cadillac. Cadillac wins it. I know that they only have one car going into this race, but they are the one car, other than the Toyota, in my opinion, that is proven at Sebring and has many races under its belt at Sebring.
Fair.
Yep.
Makes sense. No, I'm with you.
Last year's car was basically this year's car, excluding the whole hybridization part, right?
Yeah.
And at the Rolex 24, they proved that they can do the hybridization bit, but they also have more testing mileage, I think, than any other team at Sebring, because they've been to the IMSA test and the Prologue now, which is good. And I think that they also have their own private test before the season started in IMSA, which some teams did as well. I know Porsche was there, and I think some others.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that they definitely have the advantage going in. Will they win? There's only one car.
That's my worry, is that they only have one. So I think it could go a Toyota, a Porsche, or a Cadillac.
I think you're right. Those are the top three that have a good chance of winning this. The rest are unlikely.
Yes.
Yep. Should be neat. Should be really neat to watch.
Agree. So let's chat about the 12 hours, because that is happening, well, when this comes out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening on the morning of the 1,000 miles, you are probably curious to know who is running at the 12 hours of Sebring, and we have a quick little list of the amount of GTPs. So at Sebring this year, you are going to have 8 total GTP, which is GT Prototype, which is their version of top class racing. Instead of calling it Hypercar, it's called GTP. You've got 2 Porsches, 2 Acuras, 2 Cadillacs, and 2 BMWs. Two. Just like you had at the Rolex, right?
No,
sorry.
3 Cadillacs.
This Cadillac had 3 Cadillacs. Sorry.
Totally, and you know what?
Because the other Cadillac is racing in the WEC.
Yeah, the reason that there's only 2 is because the O2 car is now moved over to the WEC.
Yes.
Which is awesome to see. I love that they did that. And I think that's a Chip Ganassi car that's running in the WEC now.
Yes, I misspoke there. So 2, almost like the Rolex, but not quite.
8 total.
Yes, 8 total GTPs. Then, to move into the GT class racing, which is the regular-looking cars with some fancy wings, you're going to get the GTD Pro, which is the Pro version of that class. You have 8 of those, and in the standard GTD, so GT Daytona, you get 20 cars. So, all sorts of cars. Porsches and Lamborghinis and BMWs and Ferraris and all sorts of stuff.
Yep, should be good. Have we heard any BOP adjustments? I have not.
Some have. By the time this comes out, BOP will be pretty much set, but I have not heard anything yet.
Okay, I have not either. So I wonder if all the Porsche boys.
Actually, I did hear something. Porsche did get a little bit of bump in power, from what I heard.
Okay, maybe they'll be fast. I
Maybe
think
they'll be not slow. I don't want them to be fast. I just don't want them to be not slow.
Yeah, right. To have a chance.
Yes.
I think that they were leading in the WEC Prologue stuff.
Good.
So, maybe they'll win that one.
Let's go Porsche.
Maybe not.
Baby.
We'll see.
Let's go.
Will the Porsche snobs still be complaining after the race? Yes, certainly.
Will the Corvette snobs also be complaining after the race? Yes, certainly.
If you're a fan of any team, that's what you do.
Of course.
That's what you do. It's just part of racing.
So the other races you can watch this weekend, right? So we know there's a 12 hours. We know today is the 1,000 miles of Sebring, but there's also NASCAR in Atlanta. But also there is the Formula One Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
We're still over in the Middle East.
Of course.
Of course. Oil money. Why not? But that one's in Saudi Arabia. So that one's just right next to Dubai.
jog a bit wet. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, you're relatively close. Yes.
Yes.
Huh. All right. Neat.
I wonder how long, like probably a 6-hour drive or something. 10-hour drive, something.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my guess.
Do you know if it's a night race? Oh no, if it's 10 a.m. here, then it is a night race.
Yeah,
Okay.
Saudi Arabia is always a night race. I think it's the street circuit as well.
Oh yeah, it is a very night race. Okay, it's on at 1 p.m. on Sunday in the Eastern Standard Time.
Ooh.
So it is a very nighttime for them race.
Yes.
Okay.
And interesting.
Bahrain started at 10 a.m. here.
Oh.
And Saudi starts at 1 p.m. here.
Wow. That's
Right in the middle of an hour after the. Oh no, because that'll be Sunday. Yeah, okay. So you watch the WEC Friday, Saturday. Watch IMSA run the 12 hours, and then the F1 Grand Prix on Sunday.
Yes. So that's all I got for episode 189. You got anything else?
I do not.
Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a thumbs up on the video and drop a comment. Let us know, what are you more excited to see? The 1,000 miles of Sebring or the 12 hours of Sebring? And who's going to win the 1,000 miles? Is it going to be a Cadillac? Maybe a Toyota? Porsche? Who knows? Let us know. Drop a comment. If you're listening on audio, please send us those thoughts via social. Facebook is We Are Auto. Instagram is We Are Auto _ YouTube is We Are Auto. And our website is weareauto.io. So thanks again. Catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.